Dual program for this special presentation of Inter Miami Soccer on ESPN 106.3. The pink smoke is in the air. That means legendary goals.
Oh, it's a cannon shot! Go ahead and give him the goal of the week!
Heroic saves.
Outstanding point-blank save. You are denied.
Inter Miami Soccer is on ESPN 106.3.
Goal de Messi!
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
We got Inter Miami football on the airwaves tonight, and welcome on into Pink Smoke, our weekly Inter Miami and World Football show, where we talk everything Inter Miami Herons, everything Lionel Messi, and everything world football. Big one tonight at New York, NYCFC. We remember the first time our Inter Miami Herons played NYCFC. It was match week 1, where Toto Aviles, center back for Inter Miami, had a goal early on in the first 15 minutes of the game, but later on picked up a red card. Inter Miami had to play a man down for about 80 minutes. But Inter Miami and Lionel Messi able to get a draw at home in their first fixture. But certainly a lot on the line for our Herons tonight, as they will be facing off against a good side, man. You know, it's a good side in NYCFC. It's a team who is 4th on the Eastern Conference table with 53 points. Now, Inter Miami, they have 2 games in hand on NYCFC. NYCFC has played 30 games. Our Herons have played 28. But with the amount of games Inter Miami is going to be playing until October 18th, they're going to be catching up, and they're going to be nipping at the heels of teams like FC Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and NYCFC. Favorable matchups, too, for our Herons, as we'll get into here on Pink Smoke. We'll go through all the fixtures our Herons got coming up, but obviously the big one tonight, NYCFC hosting our Inter Miami Herons at MetLife Stadium. And with that, folks, let's actually get right into a little Messi Mania presented by our good friends at PNC Bank.
It's time for a little Messi Mania on Pink Smoke, presented by PNC Bank. The latest match results, highlights, and everything Messi starts now. Brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Learn more at PNC.com. PNC Bank, National Association member FDIC.
Putting one behind the keeper takes more than talent. Sure, the pros make it look easy, but there's a whole lot of boring work behind it. Hours of drills, scrimmages, and dedication to the craft that ultimately pay off in a brilliant goal-scoring move. PNC Bank knows that it's the same with money. That's why they take a smart, steady, and, boring approach. So you can make brilliant money moves that help you score your own goals. And PNC Bank makes it easy and convenient to manage your money when and where it works for you, including with new branch locations opening across Miami. See how keeping your money boring can be the brilliant move for you. Visit pnc.com/brilliantlyboring. PNC Bank, proud banking sponsor of Inter Miami CF radio broadcasts and Brilliantly Boring since 1865. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved, member FDIC.
Well, our Inter Miami Herons were in action over the weekend, and they got a win over DC United. A little closer than maybe we thought things were going to be against DC United. But Lionel Messi with a brace, and it was a full-on second-half brace. 2 goals and an assist for the great one in the game. He was on his top stuff, a 66-minute goal and an 85th minute goal for Messi. And then Tadio Allende getting in that first half. It was 1-0 as we went to the break. Muriel would pull back a goal for DC United in the 97th minute, but Christian Benteke in the 53rd actually made things a little interesting. But those were the 3 goal scorers in the game, Tadeo Allende and Lionel Messi for Inter Miami, and then Christian Benteke, who won the Golden Boot in the MLS last year. Benteke, former Premier League player, longtime English footballer, Christian Benteke, who obviously had the most goals in the MLS last season in 2024. But the Belgian international player managing to get his head on the end of the ball and a header goal in the 53rd. And then, as I said, Jacob Muriel, in 90-plus extra time made things interesting. Now, Inter Miami in the game went with that 4-3-3. We've seen Inter Miami go with a 4-4-2. I think it was the 4-3-3 because there's no Luis Suarez. And that's huge news heading into the fixture tonight, is that Luis Suarez is going to be back for our Inter Miami Herons. Suarez was serving a 3-game suspension due to him spitting on a Seattle staffer. So we'll be sure to be keeping an eye on what kind of form Luis Suarez is going to be in tonight, because I personally think I don't think Mascherano is going to bring Suarez off the bench. I think they're going to play him. I think they're going to play Suarez because Alan Abando, the backup striker, he has been injured for about 3.5 months now. And I think Coach Mascherano wants Lionel Messi either centralized behind Luis Suarez or coming off of that right wing. We've seen Mascherano play the 2 striker setup with Messi and Suarez up top. What ultimately ends up happening is that Messi plays a 9 role. You know, he ends up playing that 9 role, sliding behind that false 9 role, sliding behind Luis Suarez. You know, obviously the 9, folks, is the striker, the number of the striker on the field, but Messi will slide into that false 9 role where he has the ball at his feet and he's able to make plays in the box if it's passing to a cutting Tadeo Allende, if it's passing to a Luis Suarez who's making a run into the box, or beautifully dribbling, as Messi always does, around the box and getting a shot off. I think that's where Inter Miami is truly dangerous. And I do think having those 4 players in the, with that 4-4-2, having those 4 players in the midfield works more for the personnel that Coach Mascherano has in the lineup right now. It allows Yannick Bright and Sergio Busquets to be the 2 centralized midfielders. And then they've been playing Rodrigo de Paul off of the right, and either a Talasco Segovia, Fafa Pico, or whoever, Tadeo Allende, one of those guys coming off of the wing. Now, we have seen Talasco Segovia be centralized as well and more attacking lineups for Coach Mascherano, but the 4-3-3, I think, made sense with the personnel that Coach Mascherano had at his dispense. And I got to give some credit to Jordi Alba, too. I mean, the former Barcelona man, a long time, and I say long time, but folks, his position is a left back, but he played left wing, left mid, whatever you want to call it. He played an attacking position the last 2 games for Coach Mascherano in that 4-3-3. The way I look at this and the way I saw the game get played out against DC United, he was a left winger. I mean, he was up top with the attack, making passes, making runs. He had his 2nd assist in 2 games playing that left wing position. So he's been a part of 3 goal contributions for Inter Miami, the DC United game and the fixture before. And I think that shows a lot of guts by a player like Jordi Alba, a veteran who probably likes his home at left back, but understands, hey, this is what's best for the team. This is what I got to do for the team in order for us to be successful. And he put his ego aside, played left wing the last 2 days, and played great. Some other recent news, now that I'm looking at the lineup and remembering, Sergio Busquets, the longtime number 5 for our Inter Miami Herons and Barcelona. He came up in Barcelona's youth academy with Lionel Messi. He's going to retire at the end of this season. He announced earlier this week that this is going to be his last season playing world football. So Sergio Busquets will be saying goodbye to the game coming up at the end of this year. I think that adds a little extra motivation for our Herons as well. I mentioned, man, Busquets, I think personally one of the best number 5s that I've ever seen. And when I mean number 5, it's just that defensive midfielder role. I call it a deep lying playmaker, man, where he sits back, but he is so beautiful when the ball is at his feet. The best way I could describe Busquets is he makes the easy, like, he is proof that sticking to the basics when it comes to ball dribbling can work. I mean, he makes the basics when it comes to dribbling a football. If it's a simple pullback, a ball roll, go back and look at Busquets' tape with Barcelona. It's nothing like Lionel Messi, ball on a yo-yo, ball on a string. It's just the simple plays where he would just dust defenders, leave them in his wake, and make that pass that leads to the assist, or that pass into the box to one of the attacking players for Barcelona. There's so many of them, obviously Suarez and Messi, but even Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele of years past. I mean, he was truly one of the better number fives. But it is reportedly that he will be retiring. It is being reported, rather, that he is going to be retiring at the end of the 2025 season. So we'll be keeping an eye on Sergio Busquets this season, as it's looking like it's going to be his last season playing the beautiful game of world football. But 888-760-3776, that number to call on in if you want to get involved on a little Pink Smoke action. Mike Rizzo, your host. I am hosting you all the way until we go live, actually, at MetLife. We are on the road at MetLife Stadium tonight. NYCFC is the opponent, and Inter Miami will be playing on that godforsaken artificial turf that our Herons love so much. Obviously, very sarcastic there. The boys hate playing on that artificial turf, but regardless, that is going to be the site tonight. And a chance for a playoff spot on the line, a win or a draw. Inter Miami is going to be dancing in the playoffs. They're going to have a playoff position locked in. But Inter Miami did beat that DC United in their most recent fixture, 3-2. Messi with another brilliant performance. And the reports about the great one, the GOAT, Lionel Messi, is that things are kind of getting in the stages of an extension, or rather, the stages for Messi and contract talks are exciting for the Inter Miami side, because it's looking like Messi might be close to inking a 2-year deal. Now, nothing is official, folks. Nothing is official. This is just completely we're speculating, but there has been some good news out of Inter Miami that Messi could be close to signing a multi-year deal with the Inter Miami Herons. In my personal opinion, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think when it comes to Lionel Messi and his future, I think him sticking around at least until the end of next year is the smart move for him. Like, you got the World Cup coming up in the United States. And forgive me for thinking, folks, that our fellow Argentinians on the Inter Miami Herons and Lionel Messi, Rodrigo de Paul, and so many more are going to be one of those teams that's going to be playing at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Obviously you have the draw of where the teams are playing, but I think with how things are set up, I'd put some money on Argentina getting a couple of games at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Lionel Messi and the team Team Argentina, they are the defending World Cup champions. Messi plays his world football for the club in Miami with our Inter Miami Herons. I'm speculating on this too, but I think it would be dumb not to have the Argentinians play a game at Hard Rock Stadium, where, the site of a lot of the FIFA World Cup games are going to be, where the site where the FIFA Club World Cup games, a lot of the games were this past summer. So I'm interested to see what happens there. But with the contract situation with Lionel Messi, it makes sense for Messi to be here at least until next year. But there are rumblings, nothing concrete. I want to make that clear, nothing concrete. But there are rumblings that Messi could even sign a deal that looms past 2026 into 2027 for 2 years. So we'll all have a magnifying glass on that situation as we find out more. But, I mean, this is still a player who's game in and game out in the MLS, having 2 goals and an assist. The brace man. The voice of the Inter Miami Herons, Ken LaVicka, always says, he doesn't need a hat trick. He'll just get a brace and an assist. That's what he does. He scores 2 goals and he'll assist 1. All in a day's work, right? And it's hysterical. Like, most of the goals come in the same half. Messi's so good to where he could just turn it on, and most of the goals come within the same half. I mean, look at the DC United game. The 66th minute and the 85th minute. Lionel Messi getting in the back of the net and doing Lionel Messi things. But once again, this is Pink Smoke. Mike Rizzo, your host. I will be taking you up until 7 o'clock on Pink Smoke, but I'm back on the mic with the little Inter Miami pregame until we take you pitch side to the voice of the Inter Miami Herons, Ken LaVicka. That'll be around 7:38, 7:40. I think at this point we all understand if you're a strong listener to Pink Smoke and Inter Miami football on ESPN 106.3, you know that this is going to be a 7:38, 7:40 kick. I don't got to say it. But for the new listeners out there, usually these games kick off 8 to 10 minutes. Not usually. Most of the time, darn near all the time, these games kick off 8 to 10 minutes after the said time at 7:30. So I will be handling things up until then. And I want to remind everybody, too, to download that ESPN South Florida app. You can find everything ESPN 106.3 on that ESPN South Florida app. You can go back and listen to Theoretically Speaking with Theo Dorsey and Christian Catt. You can go back to listen to Russo and Rizzo with Colin Russo and myself. Go back and listen to Pink Smoke. My favorite show, Pink Smoke, baby, where we talk everything world football, everything Inter Miami, everything Lionel Messi. If Lionel Messi has a hangnail, I'm going to tell you about it. You can find all that stuff on that ESPN South Florida app. Miami Hurricane football, Miami Heat football, all of our stuff is right there on the app. It is your one-stop shop if you're a South Florida sports fan. That is the ESPN South Florida app. NYCFC tonight, going to be a tough matchup for our Inter Miami Herons. I want to remind everybody, too, this is a little Messi Mania presented by our good friends at PNC, where we go through everything Lionel Messi related, everything Inter Miami related. 3-2 winners, Inter Miami over DC United. But I did want to talk a little bit about this matchup coming up tonight at MetLife Stadium. NYCFC and Inter Miami doing action in New York. Philippe Ducic, will be the referee coming up tonight. And I apologize, it's not at MetLife, it's at Citi Field. I get so confused sometimes with these New York stadiums. I'm at your mercy, folks. It is at Citi Field coming up tonight. This is a side of NYCFC who's got a lot of threatening players. I mean, Alonso Martinez has been solid all year long for NYCFC. They like to run a 4-4-2. They like to get their strikers involved. Similar to Inter Miami, most of the time, one of the strikers turns into a false nine and plays behind the main striker. But their advanced forward tonight, their advanced attacking forward is going to be Alonso Martinez, who leads the way in goals with 17. He does have an assist on the year. He leads the team in goal and assisted contributions with 18. But most of Alonso Martinez's damage is done when it comes to scoring goals. And I think that's a player that Coach Mascherano, the midfield and the defenders are going to be zeroing in on tonight. If it's Gonzalo Luan, if it's Toto Aviles who gets the nod, if it's Yannick Bright in the midfield, Noah Allen, everybody has Alonso Martinez on their watch list. And, Citi Field is going to be the site. And NYCFC, I got a good fan base. I mean, this is a proud MLS club. This is a proud MLS club who's been around for a little bit and really loves their soccer up there. Obviously, you got your two teams. You got the Red Bulls, who don't tell an NYCFC fan this. I think the Red Bulls are more liked in that city. But listen, NYCFC still has a solid history and is a solid team. And I think right now they're the best team in that city, sitting at number 4 with 53 points. And Alonso Martinez is leading the way for them with his 17 goals. Now, if we look at the assist department, you got Maxi Morales, who's had a solid year. The Argentinian Maxi Morales, by the way, the 38-year-old veteran, is leading the way with 10 assists. He will be playing the number 10 tonight for NYCFC. We could all but assume that he will be in that starting lineup. Hansi Wolf has been solid for them as well. So this is a good team. This is a good team they can beat you in a lot of ways. And actually, Hannes Wolf is second in goal and assist contributions. Wolf has 11 goals and 5 assists on the year. That's 16. He is right behind Alonso Martinez as far as the goal and assist goal scoring contributions. But if we rewind back to that week 1 that our Inter Miami Herons played against NYCFC, it was the draw. It was where Toto Aviles picked up the red card after, heroics. He scored the goal and was able to get things kicked off on the right foot for Inter Miami. But certainly, Coach Mascherano, I think, he made, I think Aviles got in the doghouse early with Coach Mascherano after picking up that red card in the 1-1 draw, in the draw that happened at Chase Stadium all those weeks back. This was, we go as far back as the beginning of the season. The first game of the season in that 2-2 draw on February 22nd. Martinez did score in that game in the 55-minute. That is Alonso Martinez, the Costa Rican I just got done telling you about. In a game where Lionel Messi had to put on 2 assists. He had to have 2 assists in the game to Aviles on the header, and then later on in the game too. I mean, he had to do late game heroics. He was match week player. He was the player of the week in match week 1 because of the 2 assists that he had to Telesco Segovia in the 90 plus 10 extra time. 10 minutes of extra time, by the way. Holy cow. A lot of stoppages in this one, as I remember. And then Toto Aviles in the 5th minute. But Messi, obviously, our segment's called Messi Mania, and we know why. Had an 8.8 match rating according to FotMob and 2 assists, and was able to net his way into the match the player of the week honorees within the MLS. But this a program in NYCFC that has been successful in the last couple of years. Multiple playoff appearances for NYCFC. And Citi Field playing on the road. I like Inter Miami's odds with Luis Suarez coming back. I truly do think with Suarez and Messi still one of the more unstoppable duos that you're going to be able to find in the MLS when these guys are on. And I think Inter Miami is one of those teams, if they want to turn it on, they're going to turn it on. I think we've seen that throughout the year. Have we seen Inter Miami's age catch up with them in some of these games, specifically in the Western Conference games early on in the year against, Vancouver and company? Sure. But with the quality Inter Miami has, I'm very confident tonight that the Herons could secure a playoff spot. Let's remember, the game recently that our Herons played against DC United, all right? Going into the game, if they won against DC United and the New York Red Bulls lost against Montreal, they would have been in the playoffs already. But the Red Bulls ended up beating Montreal because Montreal is the worst team, in my opinion at least, in the MLS. People, obviously, when you look at the MLS table, there are a bunch of teams on that Western Conference side, like the LA Galaxy and maybe even Sporting Kansas City, that could throw their name in there. But according to points, Montreal is behind LA Galaxy. But this is an LA Galaxy team, folks, who won the Cup last year and was playing in the League Cup semifinal. Montreal did none of that this year. The Galaxy have had a very disappointing year in the MLS, but I still would say Montreal is probably the worst team within the MLS. The Red Bulls were never losing that game. But tonight, Inter Miami controls their own destiny. They didn't control their own destiny against DC United. Inter Miami will be controlling their own destiny as they walk onto the pitch at Citi Field coming up tonight against NYCFC. 888-760-3776. That number to call on in if you want to talk a little Inter Miami football. We got you all the way up until kickoff around 7:38, 7:40. Inter Miami going to be facing Toronto coming up this Saturday. After that, Chicago, New England, Atlanta United, and then they will end with Nashville SC. But the site tonight is New York City, the Big Apple, with NYCFC. Inter Miami starts a road stretch tonight. They're on the road in New York tonight. And then at 4:30, a 4 o'clock coverage start here on ESPN 106.3. Inter Miami will be facing off against Toronto. Toronto, one of the worst teams within that Eastern Conference table. And I mentioned Inter Miami being behind the likes, when I say behind, in games and in points. Games played and in points. Philadelphia Union, FC Cincinnati, Charlotte. 3 out of the 4 teams that are ahead of Inter Miami. Inter Miami's 3 games behind. Most of these teams have about 3-4 games left to go on the season. Inter Miami's got 6. They got 6. NYCFC, Toronto, Chicago, New England, Atlanta, and Nashville. Inter Miami will be on the road these next 2 games with NYCFC and Toronto, then a 3-game homestand in Chicago, New England, and Atlanta. And folks, Chicago, as of right now, Chicago would probably be the hardest team on that list. They are currently the last team in the MLS playoffs flirting with New York Red Bulls. Red Bulls have 43 points. Chicago has 45. But it looks like if Chicago is able to take care of business on their end and be favorable in their matchups, they're going to be in the playoffs. But Toronto is 12th. Atlanta is 13. These are 2 bad teams. Atlanta has 27 points. Toronto has 27. So those are 2 games at home where you expect Toronto's on the road, but you got Atlanta at home and New England at home, darn near bottom half teams within the MLS. Let's put some respect on New England. They're 11th, but they're 11 points behind the number 10 spot in New York. They're not making the playoffs this year. They got 32 points. They're more closer to Toronto and Atlanta. So Inter Miami is going to have a lot of favorable matchups towards the end of the year. Nashville has taken a significant step back. Nashville SC, who is a top 3 team for majority of the year, they have lost 3 games in a row. They lost 3-2 to Orlando City the last time they played. They lost 2-1 2 games before that, against FC Cincinnati, and they had a stinker at home against Atlanta United. So Nashville darn near playing themselves out of home field advantage. 2, 3, and 4 will get home field first round. The number 1 seed overall gets that bye. If we remember with our Herons last year, they had the bye because they were the number 1 seed in the conference. But Inter Miami, 3 games behind Charlotte, Cincinnati, and the Union, 2 games behind NYCFC. I went to public school, folks, but 3 times 3 is 9. And if you give Inter Miami 9 out of 52, that's 61. They could still be the top team in the Eastern Conference if they're able to take care of business. And I can't stress enough that they got to win. We've been sitting here talking about the games that they have in hand, but they got to win. They got to win. We can only use that excuse for so long of, our Herons have games in hand. Well, it's time to win these games. Because I already mentioned to you, these other teams have 3 to 4 games left to play. Herons got 6. They got almost double the games to play than every other MLS team. And that could be a problem when it comes to injuries, when it comes to time. Our Herons are an older team. So it's very important that Inter Miami has good form in these matchups that they're going to play because they're going to need it going into the playoffs. And dare I say, guys, I almost hope Inter Miami doesn't have a bye. I almost hope. I thought the bye hurt our Herons last year. Winning the Supporter Shield, everything coming easy, I think is the wrong saying, the wrong phrase, but they were the team to beat. They had that X on their back, and I think the time off hurt Inter Miami. I think that there could be some serious momentum with the Herons if they play double the games in every other MLS team and are in form going into the playoffs. Could it hurt them? Absolutely. There's 2 sides of this. The first side that I mentioned, Inter Miami is an older team. Inter Miami is a team which features Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba. These guys are older. World-class players back in their times at Barcelona. Lionel Messi according to whoever, depends on who you talk to, the best player ever are Lionel Messi. All right? But they're older. Could the wear and tear of 6 games in the year, then going into the playoffs hurt? Maybe. It's the chicken or the egg. It's the chicken or the egg. Could the great play of Inter Miami in their final 6 games help them out? Let's say our Herons win 5 of 6, win 4 of 6. Don't drop points. Are in form. Have guys like Fafa Pico, Davi Ruiz, players who are hurt, come back and make an impact. Alan Abando. You saw Baltasar Rodriguez get back in the lineup. You saw Telasco Segovia get back in the lineup. Inter Miami's getting healthy. I wonder where you fall on the spectrum. 888-760-3776. Are you one of those people that thinks time off will hurt Inter Miami if they have the bye? Or should they keep playing? Keep playing at a high level and catch that momentum. No one wants to run into the hot team. 888-760-3776. That was a little Messi Mania presented by our good friends at PNC. When we return, we'll go through the injury report presented by our good friends at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Farnworth. You're listening to Pink Smoke on ESPN 106.3.
The season is kicking off. Keep your home in the win column with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can score 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong on the field, not in your living room. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8-star rating, EDS is trusted as the MVP, and it has been since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Kick off your game day comfort and don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't fumble your finances. Whether you're running a business or running plays, Jay Zolo and Associates keeps your books tight and your stress light. With nearly 30 years of experience, Jay Zolo is your go-to coach for QuickBooks, offering expert consulting, one-on-one training, and full-service bookkeeping. Jay Zolo and Associates, simplifying your books so you can win on and off the field. Visit jayzolo.com today. That's JZOLLO.com.
Touchdown! Racetrack is proud to support our local high school football teams. Whether it's Friday night lights or tailgate parties, Racetrack has whatever gets you going to fuel all the gridiron excitement this fall. Grab your favorite snacks, crispy chips, delicious Nathan's hot dogs, sweet treats, or our house-made pizza slices. Don't forget to quench your thirst with a variety of ice-cold drinks. Racetrack, your one-stop shop to fuel your football Fridays.
Hey, it's Theo, and let's be real, moving sucks. Boxes, packing, all that stress, who's got time for it? That's why there's Safebound Moving and Storage. We handle everything. Whether you're moving local or long distance, we offer a headache-free experience, just the way moving should be. Get your free quote today at safeboundmoving.com, because every move should feel safe with Safebound.
Ready to take on any terrain? The all-new 2025 Defender 110 P300S is here. Built for those who crave adventure without compromising on luxury. Lease the powerful 2025 Defender 110 P300S for just $889 per month for 36 months. Whether you're tackling the toughest roads or cruising the city, the Defender is ready for it all. Don't wait. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and experience the Defender like never before. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on. The season is kicking off. Keep your home in the win column with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can score 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong on the field, not in your living room. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8-star rating, EDS is trusted as the MVP, and it has been since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Kick off your game day comfort and don't sweat the small stuff.
Pig Beach Barbecue on 2400 South Dixie Highway is ready for football season. With the best video walls, big screen TVs, and audio system in South Florida, it's the best place to watch all the games. Enjoy all their incredible barbecue, burgers, signature sandwiches, beers, and cocktails as you cheer on your favorite team. And with the NFL Sunday Ticket, you can be sure they will always have on the game you want to see. Let's kick off this football season right at Pig Beach Barbecue on 2400 South Dixie Highway.
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Our Herons at Citi Field tonight. NYCFC action coming your way for our Inter Miami Herons. This is Pink Smoke, where we talk everything Inter Miami, everything Lionel Messi, and everything world football. We did a little Messi Mania presented by PNC in that first segment. We talked about that DC United game, the big 3-2 win for Inter Miami. We broke down Inter Miami's upcoming fixtures, 6 fixtures left to go on the year. 3 of them on the road, 3 of them at home. Most of them against teams who are currently out of the playoff race. But now it is time to see who's healthy, who's going to be available for Inter Miami tonight. Let's get into the injury report presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
Now it's time for the Inter Miami Injury Report, presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
And now a fight for it. One right back by Inter Miami.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Representing injured people and their families for more than 35 years. Visit foryourrights.com.
This is foryourrights.com. For 35 years, Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath have been serving your families. Visit foryourrights.com. That is foryourrights.com. So we got 3 players. Well, we got one for sure player that is not going to play tonight, and that is going to be Telesco Segovia. Segovia is suspended due to card accumulation. So no Telesco Segovia in this matchup tonight for our Inter Miami Herons. Alan Abando, who has been hurt what seems like an eternity. It says early October for the young striker, the young Ecuadorian striker. And then Davi Ruiz. Davi got injured on international duty. Represents Honduras on the international side. But we're still seeing him on the injury report. It is looking like mid-October. Mid-October for Davi Ruiz to join the squad. Now, Inter Miami's final game of the season is on the road at Nashville SC. So we'll have to keep an eye. You know, a lot of this stuff, folks, is tongue-in-cheek, you know, the manager and the media. Baltasar Rodriguez was on the injury report heading into last week's fixture, and he ended up being on the bench and even played in the game. Telesco Segovia, too. Like, Rodriguez and Segovia were unavailable for the game against Charlotte. And then a week later, they came on as substitutions. And obviously, Segovia had to come on because he picked up a card in the game, which is why he's not playing. But Alan Abando and Davi Ruiz still on that injury report. Fafa Pico as well suffered an injury on international duty. He plays for Team Haiti. Fafa coming from Haitian descent. Does a great job for Haiti. But Fafa did pick up a knock. We will have to see the status of him once we see the starting 11s roll out between our Inter Miami Herons and NYCFC. Let's put things on over for NYCFC. Keaton Parks, Malachi Jones, and Nico Cavallo. Those are the 3 players that are injured for NYCFC as of right now. But their starting lineup is usually O'Toole, Raul, Martins, Gray, Morales, Perea, Hack, Wolf, Martinez, and Fernandez. And then obviously, I mean, we all know the goalkeeper, Matt Freese. And I say we all, if you are a diehard United States men's national soccer fan like myself, USMNT team, Freese has played unbelievable with Pochettino and the Americans. I am almost ready to bin Matt Turner, but I could talk about that for 45 minutes, folks, on how I think Freese should be playing over Matt Turner, but neither here nor there. I hope Freese gets picked for the World Cup squad. I don't see why he wouldn't. He's played very well, as I've mentioned. But Freese, certainly one of the better MLS goalkeepers in net for NYCFC. We'll get you starting 11s once we get a sense of who is going to be playing. But that is the injury report presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Franway. That is For Your Rights. Visit foryourrights.com. It's foryourrights.com. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Franway. I'm actually seeing starting lineups now, so let's actually go through who is going to be playing tonight between NYCFC and our Inter Miami Herons. Once again, Citi Field is the site. Felipe Ducic is the referee. And Inter Miami one step closer to the MLS playoffs. Our Herons need a win or a draw, and they're in. They will have secured a spot with a win or a draw. The 11 I'm seeing for Inter Miami, 4-4-2, which I love. Yeah. With the players available and with what Inter Miami has available, 4-4-2 makes absolute sense. And folks, I got to say, I'm a big fan of what Coach Mascherano is trotting out tonight in New York. Let's get things going. Let's work our way from the back up top. You got Oscar Ustari between the posts in net. It goes without saying. From left to right, Jordi Alba back in position at left back. Alba played left wing in the matchups. Recently, the two matchups that Inter Miami played, Jordi Alba was the left wing. He is back in position at left back. Maxi Falcone, Noah Allen, Ian Frey. So Alba, left back. Falcone, left center back. Noah Allen, right center back. Ian Frey, right back. Ian Frey, I like Frey more on the right than Weigand. I think Frey does more. I think Weigand is the more safe choice. But the way Ian Frey goes forward and is able to fight off, fast players that are coming off the left for opposing teams, I love Frey on the right side. Your midfield, from left to right, Baltasar Rodriguez, Sergio Busquets, Rodrigo De Paul, and how about this? Matteo Silvetti getting his first MLS start. Inter Miami picked up Matteo Silvetti from Old Boys, the top-flight Argentinian side in Argentina, Argentinian league known as a pool of great young players. And Silvetti actually came on in the second half for Inter Miami last game, and Lionel Messi gave him a penalty kick. Now, he hit the post. We could sit here and talk about if that was a good decision or not, but it seems like Matteo Silvetti is playing with a lot of confidence because even the voice of the Inter Miami Herons, Ken Lavica, he looked at me after the game and said, Riz, Silvetti he missed that penalty kick, and he didn't miss a beat. I agree. Kid was all over the field. He was tracking back on defense. And I think for me, with a young player, obviously every young player wants to be great offensively, not turn the ball over, and have chances at scoring goals. But if you're running your socks off and playing defense as well, that's impressive. That's impressive as a young player, and Silvetti was doing that, but he will be coming off of the right. And then your two strikers up top, welcome back, one Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi, the right striker, coming off of the right side. And we know Messi is going to slide behind Suarez, play that false nine striker role, play guys through like Suarez, Rodriguez, and Silvetti. I'll say this, too, about the 4-4-2 Inter Miami has tonight. Silvetti and Rodriguez have more legs than other players for Inter Miami. Now, Velasco Segovia, he's a very fast player. I'm not sitting here saying Segovia is slower than molasses in January. Please don't get that, that notion. But he's unavailable for tonight's game. He wouldn't be available anyway because of the card accumulation. But with Segovia unavailable and Fafa Pico coming off of an injury. Now, Pico is on the bench tonight. Like I said, we're just getting in live time. I just saw the lineups, and Fafa Pico not injured anymore, at least listed as injured, but he will be coming off of the bench. But I think it says how healthy he is with the young players like Rodriguez and Silvetti in the starting lineup. But I can't wait to see Baltasar. Remember, let's rewind late August. Where was Ken at? He was in D.C. Yeah, and Rodriguez had that wonder goal outside of the box, one of Ken's best calls of the year. And truly one of the better worldies you'll see on this side of the continent, or this side of the globe. I would put that Baltasar Rodriguez goal up there with a lot of goals within any play. CONCACAF Champions Cup. We've been in everything. Our Herons have been in everything. The Champions Cup, Leagues Cup, even the FIFA Club World Cup. Rodriguez had a hell of a goal in that matchup against DC United. I can't wait to see what he is going to provide for them tonight. And then I mentioned Silvetti running his socks off. Now, something I do like that Inter Miami has done, Rodrigo De Paul is centralized. I think the last couple of games, DePaul was coming off that right side simply because he had to. Too many injuries, too many guys unavailable. No Suarez up top. He had to play Messi at striker. So I like, dare I say, Rodrigo De Paul is back in position. Busquets is going to be the deep lying playmaking holding midfielder, the great number 5 that he is. And DePaul is going to do everything tonight. He's going to join the attack. He's going to track back the enforcer, Rodrigo De Paul, I think, back in position where he belongs in that central midfield, going box to box, doing everything for his team, and being that enforcer for Lionel Messi. Let's go through NYCFC starting 11. We mentioned Matt Freese, the goalkeeper I love so much for our United States men's national team. Go red, white, and blue. Let's hope we could do something of substance in the World Cup. I am praying that we can do that. We can do 45 minutes on that. But anyway, Matt Freese in net. From left to right, you got Kevin O'Toole playing left back. The left center back tonight is going to be Justin Hawk. Right center back is Thiago Martins. And right back is going to be Tavon Gray. Let's get to the midfield. 4-4-2, by the way. Apologies, 4-4-2. Let's get to the 4 players in the midfield from left to right. Andreas Pereira. You got, as your right center mid, Aiden O'Neill. Your left center mid for NYCFC, Maxi Morales. I mentioned Morales, 7 assists on the year, the 38-year-old veteran. Nicolas Fernandez, the right mid. And then the 2 strikers up top, Augustino Ojeda. And then off that right side is going to be Hannes Wolf. So Wolf, who is second in goal and assist contributions on the team, is getting the call. And believe it or not, Alonso Martinez, who leads the team in goals, is going to be coming off the bench tonight for NYCFC. Martinez, by the way, has not scored a goal, and maybe this makes a little sense. Martinez, or who am I kidding? He's coming off a brace. I was looking at assists, folks. I'm at your mercy. But surprising, because September 20th against Charlotte, the most recent fixture, he had a brace. We'll continue to talk about this coming up in the pregame show. But, folks, I got to get a timeout because we got to go around the MLS with our good friends at Audi coming up next on Pink Smoke. Mike Rizzo live from the City Place Studios on ESPN 106.3.
The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. The next chapter of Audi is here. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, proudly representing the residents of South Florida since 1985, and proud supporter of Inter Miami on ESPN West Palm. Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath has attorneys across South Florida ready to fight for your rights. They've recovered billions for their clients, and you won't pay anything unless you win your case. If you have been injured, call the attorneys at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Fronrath, 561-867-4117, or online at foryourrights.com. Main office in West Palm Beach.
PNC Bank salutes you, Soccer on the Radio listener. While others will just read about the match, you're laser focused on every detail. At PNC Bank, we get it. We're all in on helping you make smart money moves and score your financial goals. See how at pnc.com/brilliantlyboring. PNC Bank, proud banking sponsor of Inter Miami CF radio broadcasts and Brilliantly Boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
History is about to be made. For the very first time in the United States, the Pickleball World Cup comes to the Fort in Fort Lauderdale, October 27th through November 2nd. Over 3,000 athletes from more than 60 countries will battle it out across one unforgettable week. Experience world-class pickleball, plus a fun festival atmosphere packed with food trucks, fitness and wellness sessions, and live entertainment. Get your tickets now at thepickleballworldcup.com. Follow the action at Pickleball World Cup Official.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or BradleyAir.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on. The season is kicking off. Keep your home in the win column with EDS Air Conditioning. Right now, qualified customers can score 0% interest for 60 months on a brand new AC. Hot streaks belong on the field, not in your living room. With over 800 Google reviews and a 4.8-star rating, EDS is trusted as the MVP, and it has been since 2006. Visit EDSIsYes.com today. Kick off your game day comfort and don't sweat the small stuff.
Ready to take on any terrain? The all-new 2025 Defender 110 P300S is here. Built for those who crave adventure without compromising on luxury. Lease the powerful 2025 Defender 110 P300S for just $889 per month for 36 months. Whether you're tackling the toughest roads or cruising the city, the Defender is ready for it all. Don't wait. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and experience the Defender like never before. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Final segment of Pink Smoke. We are getting you ready. Inter Miami and NYCFC action in New York. Our Herons taking on NYCFC from Citi Field. Not MetLife, Citi Field coming up tonight. Lionel Messi is playing and is in the lineup for our Herons tonight in a dual strike partnership with Luis Suarez. As we've seen in games past, Messi lines up as that false 9 while Suarez plays that advanced attacking striker role. Really excited for the lineup. You got young players like Baltasar Rodriguez and Matteo Silvetti in the lineup tonight, but more on that when we start our pregame show coming up at 7 p.m. Because right now, I got to go around the MLS with our good friends at Audi. Folks, test drive that brand new Q6 e-tron today. The thrill of the road is calling, and you got to check out that brand new Audi Q6. That Q6 e-tron, certainly a force on the road. Make a statement when you pull into that lot at Chase Stadium with that brand new Q6 e-tron today. Visit AudiUSA.com to learn more, folks. AudiUSA.com to learn more. Turn some heads when you pull into that lot at Chase Stadium. Inter Miami right now is sitting at 5th in the Eastern Conference on the MLS side. They have 52 points on the table. They are 3 games behind Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and Charlotte. When I say 3 games behind, those 3 teams have played 31. The Herons have played 28. Now, tonight will be 29. And the team sitting ahead of Inter Miami in 4th is NYCFC. If Inter Miami picks up a draw tonight, they will, number 1, be qualified for the playoffs, and number 2, be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. Now, if they win, obviously, it'll all be the same, but all Inter Miami needs to do tonight to get that 4th place spot. As of now, we got 5 more games after tonight for Inter Miami. But if Inter Miami gets a draw tonight, they are in the playoffs, number 1, and they will move to that number 4 spot because they have a better goal differential than NYCFC. And in that first fixture, remember, they tied back in Chase Stadium. So it would be 2 draws. It'd come down to goal differential. And Inter Miami right now is plus 14, while NYCFC is plus 11. The team with the best goal differential in the Eastern Conference is Philadelphia. They are at 17. But your top 5 teams right now in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia, FC Cincinnati, Charlotte, NYCFC, and the Inter Miami Herons. 6 through 9, the final teams, Orlando City, Nashville SC, Columbus Crew, and the Chicago Fire. Orlando has 51 points. Their next fixture, is going to be against Orlando City coming up on Saturday. So Inter Miami, Orlando's played 30 games. Inter Miami's played 28. Now, Orlando City does have the tiebreaker over Inter Miami. In the MLS, our Herons falling victim to that team up north the 2 times they've played them. But I think Inter Miami will be able to accumulate enough points to make themselves safe from one Orlando City. I mentioned Nashville. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost their winning ways that they had all season long. They're in 7th, Columbus in 8th, and Chicago in 9. Let's take a look at the top 9 teams in the Western Conference. There is a 2-point difference between the top 2 teams in the West. San Diego FC in first with 57. Vancouver in second with 55. And then how about that? Minnesota, there's a 3-point difference between the 1, 2, 3 teams because Minnesota United nipping at the heels was as well at 54. LAFC has 50. They're in 4th place. So those are the top 4 teams in the West. San Diego, Vancouver, Minnesota, and LAFC. 6 through 9, you got the Seattle Sounders, Austin FC, Portland, Colorado Rapids, and FC Dallas. So that's a little around the MLS with their good friends at Audi. Test drive that brand new Q6 e-tron today. Visit AudiUSA.com to learn more, or you could also visit in person your local South Florida Audi dealer and test drive the brand new Q6 e-tron. Inter Miami's final fixtures of the season. There are 6 matchups left, 3 on the road, 3 at home. 2 road matchups in a row, starting tonight in New York at NYCFC in Citi Field. Next, Inter Miami will be at Toronto this Saturday, the 27th. Then a 3-game homestand, the 30th, the 4th, and the 11th. The teams, Chicago, New England, and Atlanta. Chicago, one of the last teams in the playoffs as of now, but New England and Atlanta all but eliminated from playoff contention, and then they end the year in Nashville. Folks, you hear that music? That means it's time for me to go, but don't fret. Coming up in about 3 minutes, you're going to hear me live on the Inter Miami Radio Network. We'll get you the starting 11s again for our Herons. Lionel Messi in the lineup. Once again, Lionel Messi in the lineup. But this has been Pink Smoke on ESPN 106.3. Talk to you in a few.